Mayon Volcano's 60-day eruption won't stop, and right now, 100,000 people remain displaced as lava dome grows, and scientists watch something they've never quite seen before. But here's what makes this eruption different. It's not the ash. It's not the scale. It's that a volcano everyone thought they understood suddenly started breaking all the rules they wrote about it. In the Albay province of the Philippines, on the island of Luzon, there stands a mountain so perfectly shaped it looks like someone drew it. A nearly perfect cone rising 2,463 meters into the sky. The locals call it the perfect volcano. Not because it's beautiful, though it is, but because its symmetry is almost unsettling. Perfect geometry in a landscape of chaos. For 500 years, Mayon Volcano has earned a grim reputation. It erupts roughly every 6.5 years on average. That's not a volcano, that's a metronome of disaster. 63 documented eruptions since 1616. Over 50 in the past 5 centuries alone. Some years, it's quiet. Most years, it's not. When scientists talk about active, they usually mean the volcano wakes up now and then. Mayon doesn't sleep. Mayon smolders. It simmers. It waits. And in June 2023, it did something that caught everyone off guard. It erupted for 60 straight days without stopping, pushing lava and superheated rock down its slopes in a way that transformed a region and forced the largest evacuation the province had seen in years. 100,000 people, gone from their homes. Schools closed. Markets shut down. Families separated. Many still waiting to know when they can go back. Some still living in evacuation shelters. Some who lost everything. This is the story of those 60 days, and why a volcano that erupts regularly still managed to surprise us. The story starts in late April 2023. PHIVOLCS, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, the scientists who watch this volcano like hawks, the ones trained to read the mountain's signals, they notice something odd. Rockfalls, hundreds of them, cascading down the summit, crashing through forests, bouncing off slopes. The summit lava dome, that bulging mass of cooling lava that grows when a volcano pushes new molten rock upward, was swelling, expanding, bulging outward with pressure. By early June, the dome had grown by 164,000 cubic meters since August 2022. Think of that like a 70-story apartment building made entirely of hot rock. A structure that massive, growing inside the mountain, growing under pressure, growing toward collapse. On June 5th, they raised the alert level to 2. That's the signal. That's when mayors start thinking about evacuation routes, when schools start making backup plans. Then, just 3 days later, they jumped it to level 3, the second highest alert. The jump that says, this is real. This is happening. Increased likelihood of hazardous eruption, they warned. Not maybe. Increased likelihood. Within a week, the first lava fountains started shooting from the summit crater. 50 to 60 meter tall columns of molten rock illuminated the night sky. At night, the mountain glowed orange. During the day, ash columns rose into the clouds. By June 11th, the volcano was expelling an estimated 149 tons of sulfur dioxide into the air each day, every single day. That's the smell of the earth opening up. That's the smell of magma rising. But here's where the story gets truly insane. The eruption didn't explode. It didn't go violent and spectacular and then stop like so many other eruptions. Instead, it did something methodical, relentless, patient. The lava kept flowing, day after day, week after week. June turned into July. July turned into August. On and on. Scientists watched the lava advance down 3 main gullies on the volcano's slopes, the Mi-Isi Gully to the south, the Bonga Gully to the southeast, and the Basud Gully to the east. The flows reached lengths of 2.8 kilometers, 3.4 kilometers, and 1.1 kilometers respectively. Think about walking that distance. Now imagine it's rivers of lava. Now imagine they're still advancing. The eruption was what volcanologists call slow effusion, lava oozing out of the crater, not exploding out. It's less dramatic. It's more terrifying, because it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. Unstoppable. Growing. Waiting. And every single day, more rock falls hammered down the slopes. Over 130 rock falls in just 24 hours at one peak point in the eruption sequence. Every rockfall is a warning signal. Everyone tells you something. Everyone signals that the dome is collapsing bit by bit, that gravity is winning small battles against the pressure inside the mountain. The mountain is eating itself. When that dome fully collapses, and it will, because it always does, that's when pyroclastic flows happen. That's when everything changes. Now, pyroclastic flows. This is where most people's eyes glaze over, where volcanology becomes abstract and technical and distant. Let me make this concrete instead. Picture a river. But instead of water, it's superheated gas and rock traveling at 100 miles per hour down the mountain's flanks. Faster than a race car. Faster than most planes take off. The temperature inside that flow can exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. Think about that number. 1,000 degrees. Hotter than any kitchen oven. Hotter than the inside of a blast furnace. Hotter than molten lead. Your skin would ignite before it even touched the flow. Nothing survives it. Nothing outmatches it. Nothing hides from it. The flow incinerates forests. It buries entire valleys. It turns lush landscapes into barren moonscapes in literally seconds. There's a reason scientists are terrified of pyroclastic flows. There's a reason they're the #1 killer in volcanic disasters. Because you don't fight them. You can only run, and usually you're too close to run fast enough. The 1814 eruption of Mayon, the eruption people still talk about 200 years later, the eruption that changed the map of Albay province forever, sent pyroclastic flows that buried the town of Kagsawa completely. Buried it, erased it, killed an estimated 2,000 people. Thousands. 2,000 souls in one eruption. Hundreds of those people sought refuge in the Kagsawa church, the stone Baroque structure completed in 1724 that they thought would protect them. They believed the thick stone walls would shield them. They believed their faith would save them. The pyroclastic flow swallowed them all. It came down the mountain so fast, so hot, so overwhelming, that the church became a tomb. The people inside were buried alive, turned to ash, entombed inside the very building meant to save them. Today, more than 210 years later, all that remains of the Kagsawa church is the belfry, the bell tower, still standing as a monument to what that mountain is capable of doing, to what it did. It's a ruin, it's a warning, and it's a reminder that Mayon isn't a sleeping giant. It's a proven killer. That's the fear driving the evacuations. That's the dark reality that made PHIVOLCS issue evacuation orders in June 2023. That's why 100,000 people left their homes, just packed what they could carry, and walked away. PHIVOLCS established a 6-kilometer permanent danger zone around the volcano. 6 kilometers. Think about that. That's roughly 4 miles, a radius from the summit where no one is allowed to live permanently, ever. No exceptions, no appeals. No, but I've lived here for 40 years. The cities of Legazpi and Albay, and several towns spreading out into Camarines Sur province, were all in the evacuation zone, all in the danger radius. Evacuation centers sprang up to house families. Schools became shelters. Gymnasiums became sleeping quarters. Churches opened their doors. Public buildings transformed overnight into temporary housing. Tens of thousands of people displaced. Waiting. Living in transit. Sleeping on gym floors and school desks. not knowing if they'd lost their homes, not knowing when the volcano would stop, not knowing when they could return. Days turned into weeks. But here's the cruel irony that no headline captured fully. Albay province sits on some of the most fertile farmland in the entire Philippines, some of the richest agricultural land in Southeast Asia. That fertile soil exists because of Mayon. That's the secret. The volcano's past eruptions, dozens of them over centuries, deposited mineral-rich ash and lava that built up the earth over centuries, making it perfect for growing rice, coconuts, sugarcane, and dozens of other crops. The volcanic soil is incredibly rich. Farmers know this. They live there because the land gives them everything, generation after generation. They were born on that land. They married on that land. They raised their families on it. Their entire economic existence depends on it. So even as evacuation orders came down, some refused to leave. Some hid from authorities. Some returned early. How do you evacuate from the thing that built your livelihood? How do you leave behind generations of history and hope? For many farmers, staying near the volcano wasn't stupidity. It was survival. By August 10th, after 60 straight days of eruption, the 60-day eruption finally wound down. Not stopped, wound down. That distinction matters. The lava stopped advancing. The dome growth slowed. The rate of rockfalls decreased. The threat diminished, but only barely. Only slightly. Only enough that PHIVOLCS could exhale a little bit. PHIVOLCS kept alert level 3 in place. It stayed at 3. Scientists continued their monitoring, night and day, watching, taking measurements, analyzing data. The evacuation held. The orders remained in effect. And slowly, gradually, over weeks and then months, people began to return. But not to their old lives. Not yet. Because in returning, they had to accept something scientists were themselves wrestling with. Mayon broke the pattern, shattered it. The 2023 eruption was, in its basic structure, similar to the 2014 eruption, another extended slow-building event. Another lava dome that grew. Another slow effusion. But the duration of the 2023 event, the sheer consistency of it, the stubborn refusal to escalate into something more catastrophic, or to de-escalate quickly and cleanly, that was different. That surprised everyone. Scientists had built their understanding of Mayon on historical eruptions. They had charts, models, probability curves, computer simulations, decades of data. And then Mayon rewrote the rules. The mountain didn't follow the script. It created a new one. It deviated from expectations, and that made everyone nervous. This is the reality of living downwind of one of Earth's most active volcanoes, one of the most powerful forces of nature. You can study it, you can monitor it, you can build early warning systems, evacuation plans, emergency shelters, and communication networks. You can train people, you can prepare budgets, but you cannot predict a volcano with absolute certainty. That's the hard truth. You can only prepare. You can only watch. You can only hope that when the mountain speaks, people listen. You can only pray that the evacuation routes are fast enough, that the shelters have space, that families stay together. Today, months after the 60-day eruption ended, Albay province is rebuilding. Displaced families are returning home. Not all of them yet, but many. Farmers are returning to their fields, planting new crops, hoping for a harvest before the next eruption. Life is restarting in the shadow of Mayon. People are laughing again. Children are playing. The markets are opening. But the volcano is still there, still being watched, still capable of erupting again, still growing that lava dome. And the next time it does, and scientists are certain it will, 100,000 people will need to evacuate once more. Maybe more. Maybe different villages. Maybe different evacuation routes. Because in the Philippines, the biggest risk isn't that disaster will happen. Everyone knows disaster will happen. The risk is that you're never quite ready for how it happens. You can't predict the exact timing. You can't predict the exact path the lava will take. You can't predict how many people will be displaced or how long they'll be gone. That uncertainty, that's the real danger. That's what keeps scientists awake at night. That's what makes every rumble on Mayon slopes worth investigating. We talk a lot about natural disasters as if they're rare events that strike without warning. Once-in-a-lifetime catastrophes. We watch them on the news, feel terrible, and then move on. But Mayon isn't rare. Mayon is the normal state of things in Albay. It's the baseline reality. It's what residents wake up to. It's what farmers consider when planting crops. It's what children learn in school. And that changes how you think about disasters fundamentally. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's a once-every-6 years event. Regular, recurring, predictable in its unpredictability. So what does it mean to live somewhere that normal is dangerous? What does it mean to rebuild not once, but dozens of times? What does it mean to raise children knowing they'll evacuate at least once in their childhood? The families who evacuated in June 2023 were returning to homes built on ash from the 1814 eruption, homes on soil created by pyroclastic flows and lava from centuries past. And they were preparing for the next eruption, not hoping to avoid it, not wishing it away, knowing it will come, preparing to survive it. That's the real story of Mayon. Not a volcano story, not a disaster story, a survival story, a story about resilience, a story about humans adapting to live in the shadow of geological power. That's the real story, a way of life. Here's something most people don't know about volcanic soil. It's incredibly fertile, remarkably rich. So fertile that Albay province produces some of the Philippines' best crops: coconuts, rice, sugarcane, pineapples. The yields are incredible. The soil is black and nutrient-dense because of all the mineral deposits from past eruptions. Farmers stay because they have to. Economically, the land is their income. The mountain is both their blessing and their curse. In one eruption, it provides the resources for survival. In the next eruption, it takes away homes. That's the paradox of living on volcanic land. We're dropping a link in the description to a detailed explainer on how volcanoes create some of Earth's richest soil and why agriculture thrives in volcanic regions. It will help you understand why people return to danger zones over and over again, why they stay despite the risk, why the choice isn't really a choice at all. And speaking of prepared responses to disaster, if Mayon's 60-day eruption story reminds you that crisis can arrive without warning, download our free 72 hours disaster guide. The link is in the description. It walks you through the first 3 critical days of any major natural disaster, helping you make decisions when panic might take over instead. Real strategies, real timelines, real guidance. From people who have survived volcanic disasters, Mayon will erupt again. Maybe in 2 years, maybe in 10, maybe tomorrow. No one knows. But it will erupt. Scientists are certain, geologically certain. The volcano isn't finished with Albay province, and Albay province isn't finished with the volcano. They're locked together in a relationship that has lasted 500 years, maybe longer. A relationship built on ash and resilience, on fear and survival, on loss and adaptation. That partnership continues today, and somewhere on the slopes of that perfect cone, the lava dome is still growing. Slowly, steadily, millimeter by millimeter, waiting, pressurizing. The mountain is patient. The mountain always wins. That's a fact of geology. But so far, the people of Albay are patient too, and they keep coming back. They keep rebuilding. They keep living. They keep hoping. And that's the real human story in all of this, not the volcano, the people.